So good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, again in Athens, and I would, very much like to thank you personally for the very fruitful cooperation with the team of the Ministry of Development. I think we're quite happy with the fact that we've improved our performance when it comes to the absorption of European funds in the current programming period. We seem to be very much at the top of the European rankings, and of course I'm also quite happy that the Greek Partnership Agreement was, as we have discussed, the first to be approved, and of course our recovery plan was also one of the first to be approved. So now we have at our disposal significant European firepower to drive through, what I think is the necessary massive transformation of the structure of the Greek economy when it comes to green, when it comes to digital, when it comes to the just transition. I understand you will be visiting Western Macedonia tomorrow to get an understanding of the scale of the project. But I also need to stress to support competitiveness of small and medium-sized businesses, which of course is a big priority for us. We understand our businesses need to become more competitive. We have just introduced new incentives to encourage businesses to merge and acquire scale through these types of transactions. They will be paying lower income tax for the next 3 years. But of course, European funds are a necessary tool to help us drive through that transformation. And finally, I'm also very aware of the fact that when we have different pools of financing, we need to be very clear who does what and to avoid possible overlaps and to make sure that everything adds up to a coherent plan. So I think we have a plan, we have a vision for the country, we have a very good sense of priorities. We know the regions will be doing much more work, and we want to strengthen them, and those who have not risen to the challenge, make sure that they also do so, and make sure that everything fits into a total narrative. So sorry, I spoke a little bit longer than I should, but thank you again very much for being here and for all your support. And I also want to congratulate Portugal on the very, very impressive vaccination performance. We are not there yet, but it's, I think, a shining example of what can happen when you fight fake news and when you don't really leave much space to those who do not cherish science and evidence-based medicine. I was looking at the data today, and again, 9 out of 10 people in intensive care. We have around 300 today in intensive care in Greece are unvaccinated, and some of them lose their life, and it's a pity.
Prime Minister, it is really a pleasure for me, and a sincere one, to come here once again. It was the first country I visited when I was confirmed in this task, and now it is my pleasure to come here. Not that I have a special preference for Greece in relation to all the other countries, but the truth is that Greece was really a front runner and worked very, very hard, and I have to congratulate you personally and your team. With the Minister Adonis Georgiadis, we worked very intensively, and with his team, because in fact we understood the importance that Greece gave to these exceptional conditions to develop and to come out of the crisis. The Commission was in fact quite active this time to create a set of instruments. The first ones that we provided, and you know them, it was CRI, and now it's REACT, and the SURE instrument, so there was emergency support, but now what we have to do is to build back better, and in fact the first framework, so the partnership agreement with this 21 billion euros that adds up to the RRF and to the Recovery and Resilience Plan, is in fact a very important piece for, as you mentioned, Prime Minister, exactly to reach the objective of having a sustainable development, a coherent development, and a cohesive development, and something that really is in conformity, and it is the ownership is required to bring back the economy, to bring back the jobs, but in a more sustainable way, so in more conformity with the climate, with the new technologies, and I reckon that you are, in fact, looking at the right targets. So now, not everything is done. It's the first country to do it. It's the first country to have this framework agreed, and so our eyes are on you. We will be very, very interested in developing the details now, because, as we usually say, the devil is in the details, but the progress is here, the first steps are done, and of course it's very, very relevant to see that already Greece is starting to grow again. It's starting to rebuild, and we want really to support this. Of course, its environment is digital, but it is also a more cohesive development that is shared by all citizens independently of the place where they are. But to work out an adequate development strategy, it requires a lot of work and a lot of place-based work going to the ground, and this is the reason why we want also to be together with you and with the regions, and with the regions that in particular have a more difficult. But here again, we are looking at you. You are examples. You already developed a lot of thinking of how you can evolve from a very carbon-based, that has no future, carbon-based industry, and your progress, your commitments are very, very visible in Europe as well in relation to going to a more sustainable kind of economy. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here in these circumstances, and our working together will go on into the next phases. And it's very, very, very interesting, the kind of dialogues that we established, also with the possibility now of improving the machinery behind the execution of funds. And the Director General from the Commission of DG Reform is here in a way of a symbolic presence as well, because sometimes it is the structure, the invisible machinery that doesn't work properly. It happens here like in other countries, and in fact it's important that we also improve the quality of how to manage and organize projects. So, Prime Minister, it's a privilege to be here with you and a privilege to work with your team, and so congratulations once again, and let's finish what we have started.
The truth is, we are an example of success for European Union, because during 2020, at this terrible year of COVID, we wouldn't have managed to have this economic performance. We did much better than all the expectations. Everybody thought we will have a recession of 12 to 13%, and we, at the end, had 8%. And one of the reasons we managed to do that was the European funding that we absorbed and managed to put in our economy. So in one more time, European Union was here for the Greek people, and this is something that it has to be promoted. In the same story, we worked very hard with Nick and Yannis, of course, especially, and Dimitris, in order to make the apply properly, finish all the details, and have an agreement, and have the approval of our plan in July. In 12th of October, it's the 3 months from the day that you approved our partnership agreement. In 12th of October, we will send all our proposals for the programs. We have worked hard. We will ready again to discuss the details and to make any other adjustments that you may need in order to work them properly. I have to say that it's very important for us that at least EPANEC would start this year. We will need the funding, Mr. Prime Minister, starting the funding this year. This is important, if we manage. So I'm very, very optimistic that we're on the right track, and of course, the performance of our economy of 2021, that it's much better until now for all the expectations and the predictions. It's one of your successes also.